All right, so I thought it'd be fun to go through some of the questions I get asked the most from the interwebs, i.e. Instagram, DMs, and what I get asked the most about probably is functional range release through functional range systems, short for FR, or FR for short, I should say. So here's a few questions I'm gonna answer for you. Wait, let me do the Instagram thing. For you. Now we're back. Okay, so the first question I get is, why did you decide to use FRS? So I'm gonna speak mostly to the manual therapy side, which we're gonna call FR for functional range release, FR for short, because I'm a manual therapist, that's what I do. So the reason why is, as I'm working with athletes, I'm realizing I don't have a good measurement for saying they're like game ready, right? They have less pain, they're like, man, I feel good, I'm ready. But how do I know that? What's my security of that? And so I realized we need to make sure that whatever was injured, it needs to function better, right? I need to improve the functionality of it. So I'm thinking, okay, how do we get to do that? And I went through all this stuff, looking at gymnastics, looking at yoga, looking at everything I could, but always falls short because it doesn't have a specific measurement. And so that's where I fell in with the three prongs of FR, which is gonna be assessment, treatment, and training, right? Manual therapy training, on the table training, and also maintaining people in between their hands-on stuff, which is really important because if you have athletes who travel, they need to have something they can do in between sessions to improve, especially if they don't live by you, right? Can't handicap them there. All right, next question. My fingers hurt after. Next question. Do your fingers hurt after doing FR? Okay, so the reason why somebody asked me this is because it's very heavy-handed in the sense, once you do get to the hands-on piece, you are gonna be using your hands, not so much elbows or anything else, because of all that sensory material that you got right here. So do my hands get tired? No, not really, because I work real lazy. I find ways to bolster myself up, and actually, so I believe if I can relax more, I can then actually sense what's happening in the tissue. Luckily, there's a lot of jiu-jitsu practitioners in the FRS system, and so we're always finding holds and grips that we can utilize. That's a terrible jiu-jitsu hold. Holds and grips we can utilize to elevate the work. And so no, my hands don't get tired, but also, here's the thing. I use FR, the work, when it makes sense. So I'm not just going through pieces and be like, that needs, treatment, because if it isn't something that is restricting motion, if it's not specific enough, and when I get my hands through, I don't feel any abnormal tension, why am I doing that type of work? Because that is a lot of what the FR is. That's what makes it special. No, I'm not gonna do that. So I might use other stuff. So you have to realize in an hour session, I'm not necessarily doing 100% hands-on work. That's the other great thing about it is I can use different holds and grips, so I'm touching people and I'm teaching them, right? I'm quote, training them from the table. They can use their efforts. People forget, isometrics are a great way to reduce pain. So I can do so much other stuff through that lens while keeping my hands on them. So the real key is I make it always feel like a treatment by having my hands on them a bunch instead of like being really far away like this and pointing stuff out like I'm a trainer, right? I get in there, I'm like this on them, hands on. So that's it, that's what separates it. Okay, next question. Best part of FRS, or like, I didn't want to know what I get out of an event. So I would say, any event I go to, it needs a $4,000 idea. Because airfare, hotels, not working, right? When I'm not working, I don't make money. So I need a $4,000 idea to walk away from a weekend. And that's what I get from FRS. It's not always something that's said during the course. Sometimes it's on break, a sidebar conversation, but I always walk out of there with like something that I go, oh, there's my $4,000 idea. Now, you gotta listen for that $4,000 idea, okay? This is where I need you to put on your genie hat and manifest that you're gonna find your $4,000 idea, which means just look for it, pay attention, don't pay a bunch of money for a course, and then fuck off in the back. That's your fault. So don't do that. Be steady-ish. Okay, next question. How do you sell it to clients? So here's the thing. I don't always sell to each client that like, hello, my name is Ryan. I am a FR certified practitioner. Would you like to come in and let's take you through it just as taught? No. I take all the information, I shake it, and I throw it in my brain, and then I give that person the best treatment I possibly can, right? So what it gives me, honestly, is a lens of like, okay, I'm assessing, when I'm listening to them, before I'm even putting hands on, a lot of the little tidbits or ways of thinking or principles that are driven through the courses, that's where I'm thinking through. So what's actually happening is I'm relaxing. Because I know I have like a palette to work with. Before I would say, I was very random with stuff. Assess this, check this, and you're kind of going back and forth, and you get killed through just randomness. And so right now I know, okay, we're in assessment land, and I'm always assessing tissue or different things, and that's all because of the systems I utilize. So do I look like a FR practitioner as somebody may picture who just took course 1? No. So it look like a dude who's been doing therapy for 15 years and has a process in which he's operating through, which I think once you start to utilize it, that is what you will end up with on your version of it, right? Principles driven, but it's also going to have your touch to it. That's going to make it really unique and why people probably want to come see you and why you're so dope. Integrating, having trouble, so I'm just not going to read that. I'm kind of reading it, but kind of not reading it. Like the question they're basically asking is, how do you integrate it? So I always say give yourself a grace period. If you implement anything new, it's going to have two problems. One, the clients who are used to your work are gonna go, what's this? It's like ordering tacos and get pizza. I love tacos, I love pizza, but when I want a taco and you give me a pizza, I'm a little confused, right? So give yourself a grace period to implementing it with clients who you've seen for a long time, especially repeated clients. If you have a repeat client, they probably like what you do, so don't feel like you have to like change it over tomorrow. I get really excited after taking courses because it makes so much sense to me. They want to flip it all over tomorrow, but that's not always advantageous for business. So you gotta kind of let yourself fumble through it, because you will fumble through it. Anything new, you're gonna fumble through it. So give yourself a grace period to implement it, intersect it, put it in like little tidbits at a time, spoon feed it into your clients versus just one big gulp, but I think you're gonna have a lot more success with it. Don't feel like you also have to use the verbiage that we talk to one another with. So for instance, we're gonna talk about cars, pails and rails, closed angle joint pain. That's shorthanded conversation. That's very helpful. If somebody for sure wants you to take it through the whole system and they want to take every piece of it, they definitely want to know the lingo. Practitioners, it's really easy to just like short-term talk in shorthand, but I don't use it often because I need the information to get from my brain through my mouth, jump into their brain and be like usable as quickly as possible. And I just don't have a lot of time with each client to do that. So I don't always use the verbiage, but I explain it in a way that makes sense coming through like this mouth. That was this mouth, not this mouth, this mouth. And you're gonna do the same thing. So just think about it that way. And you'll explain it to somebody in a real cool way. All right, next. Let's see. Let's talk about the portal. So I would say overall, if you take the courses for somebody who's a manual therapist, is the back end portal. So I can log in, like when I'm downtime here, I can log into my phone and watch previous lectures. I can look at the palpation videos, which I highly recommend you do. Highly recommend you do. I can look at all that stuff in between clients. And when I do that, my works, again, it's elevated. Always elevates if you do that stuff. So the portal that you get for joining the courses, that to me is like probably one of the highest valuables, things I like the most. So that is a huge piece of it as well that I'd highly recommend. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this little tidbitty here on my experience with FRS. Again, it's been a journey for me. It's actually evolved how I utilize it through the years. I think I took my first class in 2016 and it's 2022 as I make this video, so it's still evolving. But yeah, have fun with it and you meet a lot of cool people through the process. That's all.